Well, welcome back to the kitchen. Too cold today for the shed, far too cold. Oh, got something here that's rather strange. It's a music centre made by Sanyo, probably in the late 60s. When it's all bundled up, it looks like an attaché case, a briefcase. Very odd indeed. And it runs on batteries, 6D cells or HP2s as they would have been when this was made, or off the mains. One of the problems that you do occasionally find with older audio video kit is that they come with a completely non-standard mains lead. Dear old Philips used to do it. They had a 2-pin mains lead for years that had two flat pins set at right angles to one another. And do you think you can get them now? No, absolutely not. And it was the same thing with this. This was just downright strange the way it was connected up. And this is the old connector for it. See, there are 3 pins. There may be 3 pins, but the middle one was just wired to the battery positive terminal. Only the outer 2 actually conveying the AC mains. Well, I hadn't got the lead for this, and I had more chance of knitting fog than finding the lead for it. So the search was on for something different, and thoughts turned to putting a standard figure-of-8 connector in like a boombox has nowadays, or a DVD player or whatever. You may just be able to see down there the 2 pins lurking. I fitted it in the original recess where the AC power goes in, and it's nice and firmly attached. This slides back to reveal the battery compartment as well, so I couldn't really put the AC plug anywhere else. I didn't want to spoil the outside, and I thought, well, since it's always gone there, it ought to go there again. Inside there are 2 other red leads, one of which is the neutral and the other one is the live, and this one goes through a voltage selector switch which determines which tappings on the transformer are in and which are out, so that you can run it on different voltages around the world. And you can just picture somebody years ago travelling on a Pan Am jet clipper, say, jetting round the world, and perhaps setting this up in his hotel or her hotel when they got there, well and truly tired out after the flight. But yeah, power has been restored. Another thing I had to do to this was to sort out the tape deck, because although it worked, the belt was very, very slack. Rewind and fast forward only worked with a struggle. This is quite an ingenious little set. You've got full-size headphone plug, microphone sockets there, and the usual Japanese style remote, and then a little plug there, stereo out. So presumably that's a low output. And then it's AC bias recording, because you've got a beat cut switch designed to minimise interference caused by the oscillator circuit on the machine when recording from an AM station. And it gives it a much more clean sound when you play it back. The alternative is DC bias. It's a simpler circuit by all accounts, but they do tend to sound rather hissy. So if you're listening to a tape made on a radio cassette and everything goes chances are it's DC bias, but this one, no. Like a lot of this old kit, no automatic recording level is fitted to this. You set it with the volume control here for that, and look at your little sound level and battery level gauge here. Little microphone mixing as well there, so that you can record from a bike rather than from the radio or the rather rudimentary record player. But you've got your on switch here, and sure enough the needle's swung up into the red saying we've got a full battery. Well, we should have. It's connected to the mains. Volume, balance, tone, and then function. There's tape, phono, radio, tuning for your radio, fine tuning for shortwave, and then you've got medium, short and FM up here. Speaker connections go in here. Inside each of these has a little elliptical speaker. There's a little Sanyo badge in the middle there. Very much a product of its time, isn't it, this one? Anyway, enough waffling, let's see what it actually sounds like. My God, that's a long time ago. That's Howard's Way, BBC soap opera, years and years ago. There's a little bit of a rip-off of Philips going on here. Look at this lettering. It's more or less the same as you'd find on a contemporary or just afterwards Philips thing. But no, this is definitely a Sanyo. Another clue as to its age, apart from the look, is it says solid state receiver up there. Oh dear. The record player is very, very rudimentary on this. When it's packed up, and I don't mean conked out, you press the arm down onto that little mounting and it sits much more flush. And it'll just start when you lift the tone arm. Somewhat noisy motor. And it doesn't turn off when it gets to the end either. It's very, very simple indeed. All that happens is you turn the power on by moving the arm over enough to play a record, and you turn it off by returning the arm to the armrest. Can't get much more simple than that. Another job I did on this was to put a new playhead in, as the original was completely worn out, and you could actually see the gap in the magnetic pole pieces had opened up a little. So of course, well, you could imagine what it sounded like. Sugar beat, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's another funny little curious one sorted out. So see you soon.